agree with you to a point, but I think you can blame the people. Because if you're serious about a republic, that means that you are voting people into power to represent you. Now, you have to pay attention to who that is. How many people really know who the people are that represent them? Do people actively involve themselves in the selection of these representatives in the primaries? Where do these people come from? I mean, the whole political process in this country is in trouble. If you want to run for the Senate, the average cost of a senatorial campaign now is about $20 million. In most cases, if you want to be a senator, the expectation of the party structures, if you want to call them that, is that you will finance yourself. In other words, if you can't come in and ante up at least 10 of the 20 million on your own, people are reluctant to support you. The same thing is true at the congressional level. Now, there are places that are more expensive than others, but it's not unreasonable to expect a congressional campaign on average to cost a couple of $1 million. So once again, who ends up running? Well, in many cases, you do get people that already have a substantial chunk of cash under their belts. You know, Mulvaney, who ran for office and then served briefly as chief of staff in the White House, I think he, as an attorney, had closed some lucrative deals and was worth a few $1 million and was able to finance his campaign. I think Andy Biggs from Arizona won the lottery, so he was able to largely finance his campaign. Otherwise, you have to prostitute yourself to someone. You have to sell your soul. You know, if you look at someone like Pompeo, he was able to get elected because he effectively pledged undying allegiance to the Koch brothers. And if you're willing to become someone's puppet in terms of voting on the Hill, then you'll get their support. And you have to have people's support with a lot of money in order to make it into office. This means that your corruption, to some extent, is baked in, isn't it? I mean, how do you get there to begin with? You know, there's a man named Buck who is leaving the Congress. He's from Colorado. He's out from Westminster, Colorado. That's where his district is. He wrote a book, The Swamp is Deeper Than You Think. I urge everybody to read it. He talks about what it's like to be elected to office and then the cold, hard facts. You know, if you want to sit on a committee and have any influence while you're here over legislation, you have to pay us X amount of money, which goes to the Republican National Committee or the Democratic National Committee. If you want to sit on a particular committee in the House, then you have to pay another amount of money in order to effectively buy your seat on that committee. This runs into hundreds of thousands of dollars. And he said, well, I don't have it. And the individual that was briefing them said, oh, yes, you do. Just look behind you. There's a building behind you. Well, that's the K Street lobbyists. In other words, all the big corporations, whether it's Monsanto or anybody else. I mean, we could just go down the list. Hey, there's money there. Go get it. And then you give us the money and you get to sit on the committee and you have a say in things. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is this government? Is this democracy? It's kind of ridiculous if you stop and think about it. So I don't know what we call it anymore. But the notion that we have a republic that is remotely responsive to the actual needs of the American people is a bit silly. Mm.